Hello, everyone. I'm Reaper PC. That rather matrix-looking setting individual to my side is Dadeisvenm, and we are 2020 gamer. And I've said "and" a lot already to begin the show. Today we are gonna hit another what if gaming scenario. Today, what if gaming 004? What if Atari came out with a brand new console? Not a re-release of an old one, a brand new console in this day and age. That's the scenario for today. I had to make sure I got a subject matter expert with us. That is Dade. That was his generation of console.
Yeah, pretty much. My
Dade,
brother was born when Atari was introduced to the market.
is this your older brother or younger brother?
My older brother.
Oh, okay.
I'm the youngest.
Oh, okay. Chat, how is everybody? I see y'all in here. Hopefully y'all good. Feel free to throw in your anecdotes. Don't be surprised if we answer it and or incorporate it into what we're doing. For those watching on YouTube, sorry, you're getting the post experience. If you ever want to see these live, we do stream these on Twitch. Check the description for the info for the channel. Um, all right, so kind of low compared to Dade. I can fix that with a twist of a knob. Then again, he's from an older era of Brooklyn. I'm just saying, kind of comes with the territory. Um, okay. That being said, Dade, could you give us a brief rundown of Atari to their last non-reproduction console? So the 2800 plus and 7800 plus, which are modern era repos. Just a brief, quick rundown of Atari's run. That's a Lynx upside down, but it's an Atari Lynx. That's their handheld.
Right. So
God
these are the
damn.
last two that they had. The Atari Lynx,
Mm-hmm.
which is upside down. But here's the catch. If you look on the buttons here,
Mm-hmm.
the A and B button here is upside down compared to this A and B button. Reason being is the Atari Lynx is meant to be played right-handed and left-handed.
Oh, that's a nice touch.
So you could play it either which way. And that's the way I played it. Left-handed. You know?
That had to be odd for. Was there ever a Street Fighter port to it?
No, but there were other games like Tempest, like here's some other games like that. So here's the catch.
Mm-hmm.
Um Atari ended its run technically the first time when they introduced what was the game? E.T., the motion picture game. So the game was so bad and they lost so much money of it. The extra copies of E.T. were buried in a landfill in Mexico, and it was unearthed like a couple of years back.
Oof.
When Nintendo came to the scene, that's when Reaper was born, and the whole scene was revitalized. So that's when everything started to pick up.
So Atari was the dominant player. What mid to late 70s into the early 80s, and was part of the video game crash of the early 80s.
Correct.
Thanks,
And
Atari.
then and then uh, trying to pick up off of Nintendo and Sega's like their build, because this is their 64-bit, if I'm not mistaken, console, air quotes, right?
Yeah.
Now, uh, the games. So first of all, they were always the third party or third in the list. They never really made it past other players, right? Like they could never pass Sega or Nintendo.
What about in the pre-crash days? Weren't they the top player?
They were. It's just that a lot of mismanagement.
Uh
They didn't really get um ever regain their glory days.
okay.
Now, uh, the reason why I'm holding these two, oh, excuse my wife coughing in the background. The reason why I'm holding these two is that these are the last consoles that Atari released uh, before they went belly up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think after the Dreamcast failed, the Jaguar was not too far behind. It just
Wait, the
was
Jaguar was still around when the Dreamcast was around? I don't think so.
not mistaken, yeah.
I thought the
So
Jaguar didn't make it past the
because
launch of the
remember they had the
PlayStation 1.
Jaguar CD.
Oh,
No,
jeez. They tried to really keep it going, didn't they?
yeah. So the how would I describe it? They had some pretty good games, and you can see that I'm wearing the Atari hoodie and stuff like that. And I'll get
Nerd.
back to
Uh-huh.
that. They had some pretty good games. One of their best ones being Aliens versus Predator, um, which was very scary when I was playing the game at dark, in a cold room, because you're playing as a Marine and you're going through the corridors, and you could hear the Predator, and he's talking, and you could hear the whole over here and turn around and everything like that, which was really cool. Um, and the aliens, you could hear them hissing in the background and stuff like that too. Um, but the game played very well. But again, they didn't do very well. Um, so it came to a point in which uh, Atari had to go bankrupt.
Yeah, it looks like that that hunk of plastic you had there was discontinued in 96.
96.
So it didn't even
Dreamcast was introduced in 98.
yeah, so
So it just
it couldn't even make it past the Saturn era. Saturn PS1 era. Actually, 96 wasn't that the launch of the Nintendo 64?
um that's a good question, isn't it?
That
Yeah, I would like to say yes. I
and
would like to say
64
yes.
it's not like we didn't just cover a bunch of this on the last. Yep, September 96. So an actual 64-bit console came out
Right, right.
and a quote unquote 64-bit console left the market. Jeez.
Oh yeah. So
There could have been only one with 64 in the name.
so it was a pretty good console. It just didn't make it. It
I
had a CD and everything like that. It just didn't do well,
that controller.
unfortunately. So here's the catch: the controller, nothing new, right? You see this and you're like, okay, this is intimidating. There's like 17 buttons on this thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you have the ColecoVision, which had 13, 14 buttons,
What year was the ColecoVision controller, dog?
much older.
Yes.
So think about in the interface that you see here is that each controller, just like the Jaguar, there's an overlay that you could put based off the game that you're getting. For the ColecoVision, these things slide out and you come in. The reason being is that the game that you're going to play, especially as depending on how complicated it is, um, you're going to need that overlay. So this one was for war games. So for war games, you had to know when to launch missiles, submarines, different things like that, right? Um, in Aliens versus Predator, there were three different overlays: one for the Marine, one for the Alien, one for the Predator.
Cool.
So, so when you think about it, And think about it in terms of um, being playing in the game and being immersed in the game.
Mm.
There's nothing like taking. There's nothing more distracting and something that takes you out of the game than pressing a menu button to
Yeah.
find out what to press. Right.
Yeah.
So with these button configurations, these controller configurations, you had the whole experience boiled down to what is it? 14 to 16 to 17 buttons, and all you had to do was memorize where the buttons were, right? So there's no need for a menu. You want to pull out your shotgun or switch to the shotgun, press the shotgun button. You want to pull out like the flamethrower, pull out the flamethrower button. There was never a reason to go into a menu, so you always stayed immersed in the game, which was great in my opinion. So yeah, it's complicated. And you know my feeling based off of our last podcast about people who think some things are too complicated. Like, look, it's there shouldn't we I don't think we should make it as less or simple as it is, you know, down to certain people in the
Yeah.
society. Just make a game. Make the game, make the experience, have people have to go to that experience. Don't try to boil it down and make it too damn simple.
But as complicated as they made that controller, it still was a bit too simplistic.
It was
How many face buttons are there in Easy Reach?
and I'll put it this way.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, how many games came with an interface where you needed to use that overlay? Not that many.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yeah.
people like the simpler the game, the better they do, but you don't get as rich of an experience as you would think you would get.
Okay. But what about you have the controller there?
Yeah.
This is okay, a console that ended in 96.
Yep.
So early 90s to 96.
Yep.
What was one of the most predominant genres during that era of gaming?
Oh no. Well,
Mm, come on, you know it.
what fighting games?
Now look at that controller.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
You
I got you.
see the problem?
Too simple
Yeah,
for fighting games, and too complicated
for everything else.
for fighting games. Yeah,
They kind of missed the mark. They missed the mark on.
yeah, yeah.
It's like,
Although I could see like for a ColecoVision controller using it sideways and then using these buttons
that almost would have
like that.
worked. That almost would have worked.
Yeah, but you know, it's all up into the imagination of the developer at that point.
Mm, okay.
Um, but yeah, for the Atari, there's not really that much redemption. Um,
Because if I remember
uh,
correctly, the
yeah,
Jag 64 one was like a 60. It wasn't like the main processor was 64-bit, which was an issue.
uh,
So they had the whole marketing thing beating them up in the press. And then it was a device that, while on paper it was better, like 93. So what is that? That's the SNES, that's the Genesis,
mhm.
and the Sega CD. I think yeah, Sega CD is the thing. So that's great, but you're more powerful than 16-bit consoles. Um,
Yeah.
but now the PlayStation and the Saturn rumors are already flying at this point.
So
How, like, did they not anticipate that?
I, yeah. So I think one of the things that also didn't work too well for the Atari was that um one, and I'll say this. Okay, I'm really trying to be kind to the console, which I shouldn't, because um one of the things that Sega and Nintendo did very well is that they knew how to work with third party developers, right? And they knew
Till the Saturn.
how, yeah, and they knew how strong their platforms were,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, Atari said, as far as what they tried to do is, yeah, we got a powerful platform too. Okay, why should I come to you? We have a powerful platform too. We do we can make games, and you could put your games on our thing. That's pretty much it, right? Yeah, that's all enough. No, so um, it's one of those deals where like they, although while they do have a large library to you know to bring up, you know, but they just don't. They have a lot of games, and I think I shared a Reddit post with you with all their a lot of most of their games. It's just that they weren't the games that would sell. They didn't have an answer for Streets of Rage. They didn't have an answer for Street Fighter, or you know what I mean. Or their answer, if they did want have one, nobody really knew about it. In a sense.
Yikes.
So and you have to also think about the games companies that they owned. Um, and I want to make sure that I'm correct in this. Um, let me see. I think they owned Midway at a point. Um, but what did they do with it? You know what I mean?
Midway was famous for porting games like didn't weren't they the ones that handled the arcade port of Mortal Kombat to the Genesis?
Yeah.
Was that not Midway?
Yes. Yes. But that's one thing. So it's like this. They they really did. There's a lot of mismanagement. So it's kind of frustrating to see them um, go down like that, because they could have been a really good company going through. Now, granted, again, I think they were great. To me, they're great. It's just, yeah, they just didn't do it. I don't understand it. I don't know why. But yeah, they went under. So it's like, okay. Then after a while, what was it? Info games? Yeah, Info games, right? Info games. Info games, the same people who made Alone in the Dark, uh, Infogrames, sorry. Yeah, Grames. Infogrames. They made Alone in the Dark. They made a couple of other games. That's one of their big games where they like they bought Atari, and they to this day they're Atari SA in what you call it, France. So yeah, and if you go to Atari.com, they still sell, or they sell their newer games, and so for their Plus series, uh, so they have the Atari 2600 Plus, the Atari 7800 Plus. These are two games that I just bought. still sealed in the package. Um, so
What? Okay, so that's for the plus. Do they work in the original 7800?
yes, they do.
Oh, nice.
They work in the original 7800 and the 7800 plus.
By the way, folks, the 7800 plus is what's on the screen. That's the box.
So they and if you could tell, they are um, tapping into the nostalgia market. Hence the hoodie. Hence the uh, asteroid watch that I got. Um, really nice. They came in this box here. If I could show you a little bit of it, but
So this entire brand is from Infogames.
yeah, certain info games. When you open up the box,
Oh, that's fancy.
yeah, it literally has the asteroid symbol, what number your watch is,
An actual numbered
105.
release.
Yeah,
So wait,
105 and
so
125,
that
limited edition.
spec of watch
Yeah,
has a limited run.
yep,
Nerdy but cool.
yeah. So, and right now it's one of my main watches that I wear.
It doesn't even look like it can tell time on that from the angle we're seeing it.
It doesn't, but if you could see the ship in the middle, in
Okay.
seconds, the ship closest to the second hand is the minute, and the one that's furthest away is the hour.
So
So
I have to glance instead of having hands on my watch. I just clearly point out I have to track where ships are
yeah,
in
so
orbit.
for me, since we're on the East Coast, it says it's what 9:50. Am I right? Oh, 8:50. Sorry, it's
Yeah. See,
almost nine.
you see
Eight
that?
fifty.
Yeah. See how that misconstrued.
So it's 8:50. So it's one of those deals like you have to glance at it and go like, oh, okay. If you see it long enough, it's clear.
So
But
in Infogrames buys Atari,
yep,
changes their brand, makes it
yep,
they are
and
Atari now.
starts releasing all these little nostalgic things like the Atari 50 handheld with all. And I'm gonna turn this on without
Don't drop it.
my
I'll point and laugh.
yeah.
I like the
So
startup animation.
yeah, and it has all these games on it, like about about 50 or so, or more, or maybe more.
50 or so games. Not bad. How much was that? Retail, not
Uh, not that much, like $70 or something like that.
that's not bad.
No, not bad at all. And then there are some, but again, these are Atari games. Atari games don't have stories, not really. Um, they're very simple. You're talking about adventure, old school. If you guys recall, Ready Player One, that's the last game that they play in Ready Player One.
Pitfall. Is
Um,
that on there?
Pitfall is not on here. So
Oh,
you
come
gotta remember,
on.
like, who owns to not like
Oh yeah, it's
like
rights holders stuff.
rights holders who sold
Where's
it
Frogger? No Frogger.
exactly. No Frogger.
Pong.
So
You got Pong.
yes, Pong is on here. Pong, Super Breakout, Centipede. Like there's certain games that are on here, but not many of the ones that you remember, right? So what would happen if Atari came out now? They're poised for it. In 2023, they bought a boatload of old school 80s and 90s titles.
By
Right?
titles, you mean IPs,
IP.
intellectual
Yeah,
property.
yeah.
So who did they got
Intellectual
now?
property. So I think was it Bubsy? One of them? Is it
I
Bubsy?
remember that from the 16-bit days.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so they have a mascot now.
they have a good amount of games to work from. So if they were to come out now, they have this large uh, pool of games to choose from, old school and some new ones, because you gotta remember where it ended in the 80s and 90s. They could still come back right from that. Now, if they were to uh, come out, what would that look like? I would think, and if they were smart, um, they shouldn't go too far from what they have already put out. What the 7800 plus and these other games. You could probably stick with the Atari Jaguar hardware, if you will, and make something upscale from that, or even go higher than that. But I wouldn't go too far, right?
So you're saying another retro-ish console, like this is gonna hurt to say, a Jaguar 64 Plus to follow up the 7800 Plus?
Yes, but also try to do it through, um, let's say, you have to market yourself or make it so that it's, let's say, GOG, right? Put out your
Mm-hmm.
games, make sure that it's DRM free. You could put it on an SD card, put it into the cartridge, right? Or put it into a cartridge that you could literally feel that you're putting it.
Yeah, I mean,
Or
if they're following the
put it through.
7800 Plus model,
Yeah,
it's backwards compatible with the Jaguars carts, and then you make new carts. I guess there are people who are developing games for that era.
yeah. I would, but
But would we really call that a new console at that point?
yes. So okay, let's put it online, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to make it so that if Atari's going to make it that this console is online, right, and it's connected to their store, um, then the games download direct, right?
Okay.
You're downloading everything direct, making it simple to sign in and sign out, have a simple account. I don't know about a multiplayer thing, yes, just yet. I wouldn't worry too much about that. Let the developers of the game developers work on that infrastructure. But worry about the console selling games and people interacting with the games, right? And keep it simple, not nothing too crazy. I would um, leave it free for anyone to develop a game for it, in a sense that, like, if you wanted to develop a or re develop a new version of a franchise that already exists, feel free to do so, but it's under their licensing. They make the bulk of the money, you get some, right? And when your title, whatever title that you're trying to develop, um, when you release something for it, you get the bulk of the money, they get some. Flip side, you know what I mean? But at least you get to be on the platform, in my opinion.
Okay. So you say keep it retro modern.
Retro modern. So when I say retro modern, what do I mean? Um, Streets of Rage 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's retro modern. Um, if you notice, Hasbro Interactive, um, what was it? Power Rangers Rewind. Uh, what was it?
Was it?
G.I. Joe Wrath of Cobra,
Okay.
right? Those side scroll beat 'em ups, things like that. That's retro modern. Do not or try not to do 3D.
I mean, but the Jaguar 64 was trying to do 3D.
Yeah, it could. Um, chill.
Okay.
you 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 could, but you weren't that good at it. So keep to what you were good at.
But let's be real, they're no longer owned
Yeah, sure.
by the old heads at Atari that ran it into the ground. This is Infogrames, which,
Yeah.
if I remember correctly, the last games I remember with their logo on it
Hmm.
were some of the best rally games I've played for their times.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they could do three. Well, the people in charge at the time at Infogrames knew how to manage
Hmm.
3D.
Well,
So I pose to you, with that management,
yeah.
with Atari's legacy, their IPs,
Hmm.
would it be impossible to imagine an actual, perhaps not a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X out of them, but
Yeah.
something akin? Where's that Atari Lynx?
Oh,
Imagine that
yeah.
OLED screen,
Yeah.
a modern AMD SoC,
Yeah, sure.
CPU with the system on a chip, and for backwards compatibility,
Hmm.
an FPGA, so you're not emulating. You can run the old Atari stuff on an
Yeah.
FPGA,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it sells with a dock that plugs into a TV. So you could play it Link style.
Yeah.
You could play TV style, and it would be backwards compatible with all their other games
Hmm.
when docked. Let's say the dock should have a cartridge slot, because that's kind of their appeal right now.
Right.
So the it should be able to accept Jaguar 64, 7800 plus and back, right?
Hmm.
That probably would require the dock to have two slots, because I think the Jaguar 64 had a weird like curve to it. I forgot how it was, but it was the cartridge had a curve handle at the top. I don't think the pinouts matched up, so you'd probably need two card slots. Um, the CDX support or Jaguar CD, whatever. I'm gonna say that was such a low selling thing, and most of them seem like they were really just the Jaguar 64 games with CD audio.
Hmm.
I say do away with support for that in this case, because I don't think it had any additional hardware
So
graphically.
here's and all right to back what you're saying. Here are some of uh Atari SA's subsidiaries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it's all the Atari stuff, right? Atari Gaming, blah 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 blah. Moby Games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you got that. Um, Weird to say, and when you hear it, it's gonna be weird when you hear it. Um, Japan, which is if it's gonna be really weird to hear it. Hudson Soft, if you remember that.
I haven't heard that brand in a while.
Right. It's a little weird to hear. Like I said, it's just there's some stuff that you hear like, huh, that I don't recall. You remember Infogram, so I
Mm-hmm.
think they still own the test drive license. So, uh, right? Legend Entertainment, one of my favorite games, and I know you are going to just beat me up about this. I loved Star Control back in the day. I thought it
Nerd,
was a great game.
nerd, fucking nerd.
So, um, uh, Paradigm Entertainment, Stuntman, if you remember Stuntman.
Yep.
Yeah. So, some really shiny entertainment.
They own Shiny. That's the Messiah game.
Yeah, Messiah Games, Microprose.
So they have some decent.
They have some decent ones. It's like you got um like it's weird. They have some really decent titles, so they can do stuff, or they can just let those companies be and just collect a paycheck, right? But could they come out with a new console, or if they did come out with a new console, what would they get? They would have they would have a pretty decent lineup of games.
Yeah. And that's probably why I lean towards the AMD system on the chip, because at that point, if you're a new hardware platform,
Yeah,
you don't want to be too different, right?
yeah,
Because then look what happened with the actual Jaguar 64. They were too different,
yeah,
and no one wanted to take the time to make shit for this thing that was way too different and had,
yeah.
what was their market share? Probably 2% at best.
Yeah, wasn't too great.
Yeah, so I'm going to take the time and R&D to make for yours. But now if you're the same, essentially similar
Yeah,
architecture to the other mainline consoles
yeah,
and PC, there's nothing to really end up on your store, is there?
yeah,
Just respin the game. And if I want to make a retro game, like you were saying, they should stay towards retro. The dock has the cartridge slots, and if you bought the physical cartridge, you plug it in, it syncs the game into the console. So when you pull it out the dock, you have it with you.
yeah. So, I mean, all right. Would it sell?
I think
But
they sold out of the 7000 plus initial run, didn't they?
I mean,
Am I wrong? I could be wrong.
yeah,
They
come on.
did.
It's gonna sell. Okay, let me put it this way. What I'm wearing
Mm-hmm.
right now, all of it, probably a little bit more than a PlayStation 5 Pro.
I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, the whole ensemble it costs a little bit more than a PlayStation 5 Pro. So
And what number was your watch in the series of watches?
105.
So 104 other people spent hundreds on a watch with spinning ships.
Oh, did I tell you it came in 4 different colors?
Now I know.
And each one,
Mm-hmm.
if you think about it, 125 times 4, right? And guess what? Every time I clicked, I was like, sold out, sold out, sold out. I was like, hold on, let me go for the orange one. Oh, I can buy it. Buy now.
Did
And
the
it's
hoodie come with
cheaper.
it?
What?
Did the hoodie come with that set?
No, this is separate. So I gotta tell you, and you could. There was a time like we were, Reaper and I were on the call, and I was like, dude, I did an impulse buy. He's like, mm, look, it's my nostalgia, brother. Like, look, it's this, and this. So I was like, yep, just pressing the button, just doing it.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. So Atari does a new handheld
yeah. Atari does a new
slash
handheld.
handheld slash console.
So handheld slash console in
This era
the let's say
with the store you mentioned.
what I wouldn't say chassis, but what's the other word that you use? Platform. You would say like the AMD platform
Yeah,
or
AMD SoC. Yeah.
yeah,
Cartridge slots in the dock.
purchase slot in the dock.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They'd probably have to put that faux wood finish on the. You got to
yeah.
appeal. Um,
To
but
and
the thing that I think makes or breaks this, because you said it would sell,
oh yeah,
because
it's
it
gonna
was
sell.
at what price? What price would this have to be to maintain that sellability?
How much is the Atari 7800 right now? Plus.
250, I think. I might be wrong. I just pulled a number out of my ass
Okay,
there.
let me put it this way:
Mm-hmm.
when the Atari 7800 came out,
We talking the original or the 7800 plus?
the original, I
Oh,
was
back in the day. Okay,
11.
I was one.
I got that for my Christmas gift, right?
Mm-hmm.
Got a Christmas gift when it first came out. Now, sure, Christmas gift. Now, me being where I am, I mean, almost a half a century old, right?
Old. Mm-hmm.
We are the generation of disposable income. You know what I'm saying? So I can uh, be at that point where I'm like, you know what? This thing is, I always wanted to have, oh, this guy over here. Yeah, I always wanted to have a Porsche. When constantly said Dade like all these Porsche, sales. I'm like, oh my god, I
What?
can't
You
pull
said
that
you
shit
wanted
in
it.
there, buddy. Yeah, I could, but I can't.
Okay,
You know what I'm
so
saying?
introductory price. Oh,
If you want the controller mega bundle, it's $163.
okay. So
If you want like the other stuff, like the VCS, which is their uh more modern revision of their classic console,
mm-hmm.
is $200. Right? I can
So
easily see this handheld go for $499.99
you
easily.
think they could pull off four? They'd have to include a lot of games.
They
I,
only
I don't.
have to
I don't think they
include
could do it bare.
one or two, and but it has to be a good one or two, and it
Gotcha.
has to be a game that people want to play all the time.
So
Now, or okay, put it this way. How about this sweetens the pot? Remember I tell you the VCS all in
mm-hmm.
one bundle?
Yeah.
So it's $200.
Mm-hmm.
It comes with 100 games. Their collection, their Atari like
So the
arcade collection, their
2600
2600 collection.
library.
Yes, so you
Okay.
get that.
Okay.
But
So
then I would say this:
okay.
if they were going to be smart about it, do a remix collection.
What do you mean by remix?
Remix collection. I mean, like, what was it? Back in the day, they redid. Was it Pac Man? Which one? Which one was it? I think it was Pac Man Championship Edition. If anyone knows, Pac Man Championship Edition was basically Pac Man with like techno music, and it just ramped up, and it was like just great.
I think I had that on 3 platforms back in the day. I think it was like
It's
mobile, the PDA, and something. Trying to remember.
yeah. So if you made Pong like that, or and even then, Tempest for the Atari Jaguar was that exactly. The old school Tempest that I have on this thing, eh, it's it is what it is. It's the Atari game, but the Jaguar version of Tempest, ooh,
That was where it
Tempest
was.
with techno, heck yeah. And the better you got, and the more frantic it got, the heavier the beats went. It was great.
Okay.
So
four hundred
make it
dollars, dog.
again.
But we're in the era where the
Okay,
Switch 2 is about to drop.
all right. Yeah, sure, but that's Switch Two would be for that market. This one, unfortunately, the way I'm saying this, maybe for some of the folks in the chat, grandparents, right? Or
Damn.
parents, if you will, because I'm at that stage. I'm like, oh, y'all can play that kitty stuff. I'm gonna play my you know play to my nostalgia. We'll be playing this.
Well, I'm not one to knock anyone's nostalgia, right?
Yeah.
Because yeah, yeah. Um, you don't see room for them to perhaps to market to mass appeal, or do you think it would be a misstep for them to even attempt it?
I think you play to your strengths, play to that market first, and then introduce it to a younger market. I wouldn't want to go straight for that this is for something for everyone because it really isn't. Um, these you mentioned Atari to somebody who is under 20, they're gonna be like, who? What?
Damn.
I don't know who they are. So like, oh, that's that thing that my grandparents had. Oh, in the lodge in like some
In the
place.
lodge.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's the thing that I played at 4-H or like at the Boys and Girls Club. You
Do
know what
you
I'm saying?
like
Like,
them? It seems like you're doing them dirty.
I'm not. It's just that I'm just saying, like, no one knows who they are. Not not now. Um, if they were going to make a resurgence, right? Then yeah, they're going to have to um, play to their strengths and let other people talk about their console, but to other people talk about their games. I've played Asteroids for hours. I used to play Frog. You mentioned Frogger.
Yeah.
What? Used to play that for hours. You could play that on a mobile phone and like, okay, I'm guaranteeing you probably. I remember I played it on what was that? What was one of those things? Like
Don't say a pocket PC.
none, like a Nokia LCD black and black and white screen. Yeah, they had those games back in the day, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They were simple, like Snake. Who
Yeah.
doesn't know Snake?
I'm sure there's a generation now that doesn't know Snake.
Which is sad, and that's the generation that won't buy this thing. They're
Okay.
not. That's they're not the market for
So,
that.
well, the reason I ask,
Yeah.
and let's see if it makes you reconsider. I'm not saying you
Yep.
should. I'm going to say if this makes you reconsider them going for the mass appeal.
Okay.
There's clamoring for a new third party in the console space because essentially everyone counts Microsoft's current moves with third partying everything as giving up their platform. There are already people not counting Xbox as even a runner in the next generation, even though they have a next console coming out. There's some people, there's a significant portion of people who's written them off. They currently, there is a movement that sees a duopoly of just Nintendo and Sony.
Yeah.
So I'm posing to you, do you think Atari could perhaps target those that are looking for a third player? They don't want Nintendo, they don't want Sony, and Microsoft they no longer see as an option because of Microsoft's current moves in the market.
Right.
Could Atari be their new home, or that would be just a non-starter?
Atari can if
Mm-hmm.
there is one. Okay. If there are at least 10 titles that people will flock to, and that's a difficult thing to do. Um, like for instance, we talk about Sega coming out with a new with a if the Sega we talk about if the Sega Dreamcast didn't fail, right?
Yeah, if it didn't fail, then there would have been a follow up. It kind of led
Right.
to that. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So like, um, it's not too hard for Sega to do it. We all know that Sega and Atari both have the same problems. It's this weird mismanagement of IP and resources that keeps them back from doing that sort of thing. And I guess they don't feel the desire to have a heart of console. If anything, it would be Atari and Sega that would be fighting for that new console space if there's that vacuum, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's face it, Sega knows what they're doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're
So
not. They've already said we're not doing.
if if they said okay, you say, oh yeah, we're not doing it, and then all of a sudden they came out, yeah, we got the Game Gear Plus, so like all souped up, play Saturn games. You're like, yo, plays Dreamcast games, say less. You know what I mean? You're like, oh man, yeah, I'm gonna buy this, right? And they're
Yeah,
already coming out with what the new Golden Axe game,
yeah.
the new
They're breaking
Shinji
out
game.
all the IPs people said they should have had on their platforms that didn't sell well.
Yeah, and they look great. I think they're on my wish list. I'm getting ready. I'm just waiting to press the buy button. It's just that simple. If they came out with a new console again, no problem, easy. They already have the infrastructure. I would buy it right now. Um, Atari, their problem is what game are you gonna put with this thing? Like, what game are you? Um, Asteroids? Nobody gonna play that. Stop. Who's gonna play that? I mean, I would.
A full 3D asteroids experience? No. 2.5D asteroids experience? No.
No,
No. Okay.
no.
Dang. Just,
Unless that the screen. I forgot that old that it's an old school technology, but basically you just layer multiple layers of screen on top,
yeah, I remember
and
those.
each one is projecting something different. In that sense, if you're talking about that type of 3D, oh yeah, that's gonna be crazy. I'll do it. Yeah,
So no
absolutely.
actual modern day 3D reinterpretation of asteroids. You're not for it.
Exactly. Like modern day reinterpretation, you're going to really have to sell me on it. Um,
Yikes.
but they don't have the titles, and of the titles that were great then, they are not going to be great now. So if you're going to tell me, oh yeah, we're going to we're going to provide a modern take on adventure, nobody knows what that is.
So what about Alone in the Dark?
Uh, they've already been on other platforms, and most people might associate themselves with that platform. So it's not a uniquely um it's not a unique experience that
Yikes.
anybody would like. So I just did like best Atari games. You right? Pitfall. Okay. Space Invaders. Nobody's gonna play that unless you really, 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 really make a really good version of it. Um, Nobody's gonna play Dig Dug. Nobody's gonna play Cubert. Nobody's gonna be playing like I'm mentioning all these titles that no person in the chat would remember
So
to play and say this is gonna be a great experience.
so in the chat from Queen Mouse, why
Yeah.
does the new system have to pay homage to the original Atari games? PlayStation and Xbox don't go out of the way to push old games for the next generation.
And to that is their detriment.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I'll put it that way.
like
So
people on
if
PlayStation
you
were like, where are the games when the new console launches? Because they haven't
if you
put out rehashes.
if you think about um the Xbox 360, what made the Xbox 360 so great?
Gears of War, Halo, um, their racing series. What's the name of it again?
Forza,
Forza. Um, those were like their tentpole games at the time. Like those
right?
three were their starting lineup. But wait a minute, no, PlayStation does pay homage. Like every PlayStation generation has a Spider-Man game, a Gran Turismo game. Uh, so they do, but they don't. Like they do by name, but it's a new game in that line. Which I guess is
Okay,
to Dade's point.
and
What's the
I'm
new
gonna
game
name
in the lineup that would even bring people?
right.
I
Okay,
guess.
I'm gonna. These are games that
Hmm.
were um Xbox 360 marketplace games.
Hmm.
Bionic Bionic Commando Rearm,
Wow, it was everywhere.
great,
It was a good
pretty
game.
good game.
Yeah.
It was everywhere. Geometry Wars, everybody loved that game. It was back in the day. Um, Shadow Complex. They had Plants vs Zombies. Garden Wars Warfare. Terraria was a marketplace game. So there are all these really good games, but now it's everywhere. But then at the same time, where's Xbox 360's or where's Xbox's marketplace experience now? Where are these new indie developed games that you can only play on Xbox?
There's nothing that you can only play on Xbox now because they put it on everything.
Exactly, because it's on everything and it's on PC. So why would I even get an Xbox?
Yeah.
So
And PlayStation is keeping a lot of
so
IPs in the closet. But
so to answer your question, Queen, you need something that people who are familiar with the brand are going to buy.
look at wait a minute, what was that platformer that got Game of the Year? Astrobot.
Yeah.
That entire game was a nostalgia trip. Like all the other costumes and stuff that you got was prior PlayStation exclusive
Yep.
experiences. So they
And
paid homage to it in some way and people loved it. It got
yeah,
Game of the Year.
yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I found the Infogrames game I'm remembering. V Rally. That was the rally game. Dang, that was 97. Shit. I'm gonna just disappear here.
But like these, so those are they were very good games. But like, I don't understand. So like, what are the games or what are the titles that Atari has that not many? So they have to have something that is going to
Hey, I want to
make
play that
I want
for
people to play
decent
it.
money over here.
Yes, correct.
I'm looking now through even the stuff Infogrames did because technically they own that they could.
Yeah.
Test Drive series is still theirs.
Mm-hmm.
So you could release first that you could appeal to nostalgia and it could be a pretty eraser to show off that hey this handheld can do something decent. So it's kind of a showcase. There's a lot of stuff here that's like licensed that you can't.
Mm-mm.
The Le Mans games,
So okay,
Eagle One Harrier Attack.
I would say
What if
they
they
need to make
revamped Pole Position as their new game? That's yeah. It's a
yeah.
racing game. You can make
You
it look
need
pretty
pole
and call it
position.
Pole Position 2025 or whatever you want to call it.
Oh no, just do what Sega did. You had Sonic the Hedgehog that came out for the Genesis. You had Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 that came out for the
Oh, just
PlayStation and Xbox.
reboot the series.
Just reboot it. Just call it
Pole
what it
Position.
is. Yep, it's pole position and it's just 2025, 2020 something.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's an option then.
you could do Joust, but then how are you gonna tell a story around Joust? Exactly.
Pay some writers, some very good writers. Infogrames ported Unreal Tournament to the PS2. Didn't know that.
hmm
There were some talented devs over there.
They are.
Driver. Wait, did they own the IP to Driver?
I think they do.
So where's the yo? That's a
Yeah.
90s title. You know, you have your own GTA-ish like experience, but different.
Yeah.
Big pick. What about Grand Track? Dade, I toss that to you because I don't even recognize that title.
If I think what he's talking about, um, is it track with an X? I think it was. It was a game. I can't recall. But like again, yeah, you gotta remake it in a modern way that people are going to accept it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Big Pick, I know he knows what I'm talking about. When I say super sprint, right? Yeah, easy. Like those that game was great, and they had a series of those games.
Okay,
Um,
let's
make a
take your
super modern version of that.
Super sprint top down racer,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, sure.
Okay, hold on. Grand Track 10, it's old. um, so, and this is something I've seen people do with these rehashes. You have the modern
Yeah,
version, which would take advantage of new hardware, and then you push a button, and the whole modern skin disappears, and you realize you're essentially playing the old game if you want to.
yeah,
We've seen it with
yeah,
Tomb Raider. We've
yeah,
seen them do it with it wasn't just Tomb Raider, it was Tomb Raider and another game recently. They've redone so that at the push of a button you could flip back to the look of the old game.
yeah. They did it with Alex Kidd in Wonderworld.
Yeah, so I mean, why not do a bunch of that with their
Yeah,
titles as
sure.
well? 2.5D or 3D them, and then flip old new.
Yeah, yeah,
So, you know, people like you probably hit the old button, you get your nostalgia kicks. People like me who that stuff was old by the time we could remember. We would probably play it, looking a little 2.5D, 3D ish.
yeah. Grand Track was it is basically Super Sprint, or Super Sprint was it, right? So like Grand Track is like you had okay. First of all, and I know Big Pick knows this. That wheel, what they WD-40 that bitch every day because you just spun it and it just it kept spinning. You could just turn around, say hi to your friends and everything like that. Yeah, 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 yeah. That car just, I'm telling you, that wheel was so damn loose. But like, it was a fun game. But then you had other games like I said, Super Sprint, and there was that off road rally game. Same deal. Yeah. So yeah, totally. Just be that. Like have that you know, you could just say, instead of Grand Track, call it Race Track or Super Racetrack or any of those things to bring back that old nostalgia.
Okay.
hmm
I actually like that. You're making it seem like doom and gloom, but it seems like we found some titles that
No,
could.
there's some titles. It's there. It's just that
So
you gotta uh coax it.
in the bundle, what if? All
hmm
right, hear me out. That 2.5D idea, that
Yeah,
entire 2600 lineup you mentioned,
yeah.
all got the 2.5D experience. The 100 game stack. It could do 2.5D, push a button, go back to a classic look.
Oh, I see. That
Yeah,
whole stack
the
gets
whole
and then
stack
it comes with it.
comes
Okay.
with the joint. So that's your incentive to having that with it. So
I
that's
would,
the nostalgia play, and it gives
and
somebody new a better first impression of it rather than the
then in that case, I would give you I'll still give you the old catalog, but I'll only give you like 3 or 4 of those remixes. Other
only three
ones
or
you gotta
four.
buy.
Okay.
Other ones you gotta buy. Because if I give you the whole thing free, nah man, you ain't gonna buy more. So
But then you have the 7800 library.
it's
You have the Jaguar 64 library.
right. And
And then the new
you know
games.
what? You know what I think it may do also? Tap into some of the old PC IPs that you have, right?
The Infogrames stuff.
Yeah. And
Okay.
bring those out. Like, because these are not console games, but you want people to play um, these games or bring a new market to these type of games. And you already own the IP, so why not, right?
Mm-hmm.
So um, I think I saw somebody post a picture on Blue Sky like about Falcon 3.0. I used to play that game.
Are you talking about the F-16 simulator?
Yeah, it's called
I
Falcon 3.0. Yeah.
remember that.
It came with a book this thick.
Literally a flight manual for that.
You need you needed the flight manual, and the aircraft carrier was off the coast of California or something like that,
I
and
remember
you had to
this.
fight
I
missions, and you had to land
so I
on the
remember
aircraft.
Falcon 4.0, I think.
Probably 4.0. Yeah.
I don't think I was of the age to
Really? No.
uh,
No way.
let me see. Let me see.
Yeah,
Falcon
I remember. Yeah,
4.0.
I had Falcon 3.0, bro. You gotta check that
Okay,
out.
so Falcon 4.0 was 98.
Oh
I
yeah,
remember
it's
that one
way.
distinctly. Falcon
Yeah,
3.0,
yeah.
I don't even know this
91
cover.
maybe.
Yeah, no. I
Yes.
was 6. What am I doing with a flight simulator that required a tome to get off the ground at 6? First off, I'd have been a prodigy if I could get that thing off the ground.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you would have.
Nah, I remember the 98 one. For real. That one I remember.
So
This
okay. If you were me,
includes two-player modem version.
yeah, because you can have a dogfight. Buy and guess who the publisher was?
Infogrames.
Micropro.
Oh, it's Micropose, which is owned by. Okay.
Subway Center. Yes, exactly. So do that. Like make it so that um you're bringing these titles to a new consumer base. Keep the IP fresh. You know what I mean? Don't let it go stale because like you're gonna lose the copyright on that sucker.
It's available on Steam 4.0.
Yes.
And it still says Micropose software.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it still has a very positive review.
This was good. It was good.
Yo. The 1987 Falcon is in this list. What are we doing?
Do you see? Okay, what you're seeing now, chat, is a that nostalgia shift, right? So there's going to be an age or a group where it's like, oh, I wish Nintendo would have re-released a updated version of Mario 64 with all the trimmings. Just rounded out, cleaned it up. You know what I mean? Made it real nice. Guaranteed, most of the chat will buy it
I wouldn't.
because they could hear that damn introduction song, and a lot of them will be sitting there pulling, Mario's face like taffy at the beginning. It's it's a thing. The all the people who play that game know, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be that age where I think you're already in that age where for you playing a modern remix version of San Andreas is plausible. You want to play that.
I've mentioned that. I'm like, yo, why doesn't the new GTA have the stuff from San Andreas? That was like peak GTA of that era, and they've never done anything like that since.
I'm just saying it's completely plausible. Like it so for my generation, it's the Atari. For the next generation, it's going to be the NES and Genesis, I think, right?
Or
And then
Master
there's going to be
System.
well, I'm still in the Master System generation. If you're talking about well, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
The
those
Master
two.
System, NES, yeah, yeah. SNES, Genesis, that in that next era. So that generation is gonna keep going. So if they said, "Hey, we're gonna take all of our original," um, Nintendo said, "Well, this is Nintendo," but I would take Sega. If Sega said, "Oh, we're gonna take all of our original uh Genesis games
Mm-hmm.
um for the first 3 years and remaster them," yeah, sure. So Fist of the North Star, thanks you. You know what I mean? I'll take that.
Hold on, where's my
Um,
wallet?
exactly. It's gonna be an easy one, right?
Yeah. You actually have me looking at Falcon 3.0 and GOG for $6.99.
Yeah,
The game's only 400 megabytes, by the way.
but it's good. It's
I am closing this tab now. You're not doing
you
that.
know the only reason why I would say that you want to close that tab
Mm-hmm.
because I was playing it with a
Oh, I have joysticks. I need an
stick and
adapter for
keyboard.
them. I need an
Yeah, yeah,
adapter.
yeah. So
Okay.
those are great games. So I would say Atari needs to take is give get a portion of games that people want to buy
Mm-hmm.
preload, or I would say preload, but prepare the next set of games where it is a modern take on some of these games, like Adventure. I think I mentioned to you a while back. They had a 3 game series called they're the Quest series. So you had Earth Quest, Water Quest, and Fire Quest. These are all RPGs that they had, but to make a modern day version of those games where the goals are the same, but take those goals and say, or you know what I would say, From Software redo the Quest series of games. People, you know, like by hearing that and keeping it reasonably challenging, but also attainable, people would play it. And the nostalgia, absolutely.
So they'd have to
Imagine,
play
I
heavy
can
on the
imagine
nostalgia.
right now one of these developers. Oh, um, I would say who made Boulder's Gate? I can't remember the company,
Baldur's Gate company
the
name?
new one. Yeah, the current one.
You ask
I
good
would.
questions. I don't have good answers.
I
Baldur's
would
Gate
say,
developer Larian Studios. Holy shit! Why couldn't I remember that?
yeah, I would say for that company,
Mm-hmm.
give them the King's Quest series, and people will
Mm.
play that, guaranteed. I have King's Quest for my Master System.
Nerd.
Yeah. So yeah, people will play those games.
Yeah, Baldur's Gate so well. The people behind Baldur's Gate is now making this. The hype off that alone.
The hype, exactly. You get two markets for one. All the guys who used to, of my age and older used to play King's Quest, and the newer generation. Slam dunk.
Hmm.
For an IP that is God knows how old.
Older than me. I'm just gonna go on a limb there and say it's older than me. I could be wrong.
Well, okay. Yes. Damn it. 1980 was the first one.
Oh, yeah. I was not around, sir.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Wasn't even the age of my daddy sack yet.
So it was called Wizards and Princess, and the next one after that, which was King's Quest One, is 1984, which you still weren't born yet. Shut up.
I wasn't even in progress yet.
That
Not even a loading screen. What? Did I say something wrong?
that I like pictured that. I'm like,
CA just said nobody was around. Dade was.
I was.
Are you saying he started before time?
There you go. So King's Quest One, which I was playing,
Mm-hmm.
I was 9. Yeah.
Damn, son. Yeah. I would,
King's Quest, I was 5. Oh no, the like, what is it? Castles and Princesses. I was Wizards and Princesses, and the princess that I was like 5 years old. Yeah, I wouldn't have known that game. But was I playing games? Yes.
Of course, because your nerd is that strong. Yikes.
Tiger Electronics, sport, football, Tiger Electronics, baseball. Yeah. Sure.
Your nerd started early.
Yeah.
Dude was at the beginning. He's the source. Playing video games on the source wall. Shout out to the comic book nerds that know what I'm talking about.
God damn it.
He's just chilling next to the watcher, playing video games.
Yes.
Dade middle name Alpha.
God damn.
Dot Matrix RPG games. I don't know if you're being appreciated or roasted or both.
I think both.
Damn.
Jeez.
Where's losing to defend you?
I don't know. She's like, nope, fade into the background.
Just let him hold that.
On your own. Hold
Damn.
that. Hold all of that.
All right. So our conclusion
Yep.
is, should they do something new?
They should.
Lean heavy on the nostalgia, but be capable of the modern, but definitely lean heavy on the nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only disagreement we really have is on that starting price. You went kind of high, in my opinion.
$4.99?
Yeah, I think they got to be lower.
Really?
Especially if you like, I'm only giving you 3 to 4 games. I think they need to come. They'd have to come down.
No. I'm giving you a collection of 100 games. 3 or 4 of them are going to be modern.
Oh, okay, 100 games, 3 or 4 of them with a modern touch.
Yeah. I mean, it's not going to take too hard to take this and put it on.
How much was that handheld?
This was like, I think it was $30-$50, I think. Can't remember.
30 or $50?
Yeah.
Nah. It gotta be $2.99. I say 299, 299 at 299 now. Potential for what happened to you, but on a larger scale. It now becomes potentially an impulse buy for those with
Okay.
disposable income.
Yeah, I can see that.
And you said all 100 can be played on yourself. All 100 can be played on your smartwatch,
Yes, pretty much.
unless they modernize it. Pick says he's 41. He knows the feeling. All right, I'm saying the price. I think is the major issue because pricing, I think, is what is stagnating the next gen slash modern gen consoles. Anyway, it's the pricing. If you come in low enough, where you're hitting the nostalgia of your gen who has a disposable income, and it's less money than they would spend on a TV or a watch with asteroids on it, or you know, I think at that point they fly. You end up with a little bit of the Nintendo effect because that's kind of what they do. They always tend to lowball people's expectations. And how many hundreds of millions? They fly off the shelves. And
Yeah.
then the software, which you mentioned they potentially have, just need some work, keeps the momentum.
Mm.
At least that's my stance on it. Big Pick likes the show. Great topics and takes. Thank you, Pick. Appreciate
Thank you.
the.
So
Uh,
the modern version of so like they already did some of this stuff. So the modern version of damn it, uh, Grand Track
mm-hmm.
10, or even Super Sprint is called Neo Sprint, and that's on Steam. It's on all major consoles, by the way.
Of course, because right now they don't
So
have
PlayStation,
a console to be
Xbox,
on.
the Switch, and it's on the Atari damn it,
VCS.
VCS.
So
Yeah.
their redo console.
Yep. So that is their modern console, but it's not okay. It is their modern console. It's just not like the way that we think of it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it needs more.
It is. It's their modern console that is. Hmm, so weird to say. Um, they're not okay. It's the modern console that doesn't want to compete with anybody. I'll put it that way. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense.
Dog, it's $200.
Yes, and guess what? There's two modes to it, or multiple modes to it.
Yeah, it has a desktop mode.
Yeah, again, it's a console that they're doing their own thing with some games, but not. Mm.
Yeah, but it's old.
So it's not. It's not old. It's just not a competitor
But that's
to.
but that's the question.
Yeah.
Can they do a competitor?
Can they make a competitor? Can
Yes.
they make a modern competitor for the against the PlayStation, um, Nintendo, and
Mm-hmm.
well, okay, sorry, PlayStation, Nintendo. I'm not going to match the third. So, can they do that? Yeah, sure. They did, but it's not okay. They'll have to do something like the VCD on steroids. It just has to be much, much, much bigger.
Because
But again,
the
I wouldn't. I
VCS
would.
hardware's
Yeah.
what 2018 dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're not in the new ring at
They're
all.
not in the new range. No, they're not in the we mentioned. They're not in that AMD platform.
I mean, it's AMD. It's just old AMD.
Well, not in.
Yeah.
Well, okay. They're not in the modern AMD platform.
As I'm saying,
It's
you know what I'm picturing that they could do, but
yeah,
do it better.
yeah.
Essentially, a Steam Deck that relies on Atari's heritage. That's what I'm envisioning.
Mm,
It's a Steam Deck ish device that relies on Atari's heritage. So maybe a port on the bottom for their controllers, maybe, or the dock that has their controller support their cartridge. Something that takes the heritage thing that appeals to you people who are
right,
buying watches and hoodies and
right.
stuff,
And to be fair,
but more
um,
horsepower.
more horsepower. One, two. Not have it attached to a screen by default.
Yes.
It
Hence the
be a screen
the Steam Deck
or have a
approach.
screen.
Yeah.
The Steam Deck approach. Yeah, I can see that. I can totally see that. Um, can I see them doing it? Yes. Um, but they would have to do they would have to do more than what this VCS is doing. They have to do a little bit more. A little bit more.
Because
Okay.
the VCS felt like it. They just kind of here's something with Atari logos. Figure it out.
Yeah, here's something with an Atari logo that can play games. I hate to say it like that. Play some of our modern games, but not. It won't go anything further. It won't do anything further than that.
CA
Not
says
really.
any new game hardware has to be like the Switch, but as powerful like a P. So as a PS5.
Um,
I think Nintendo's proven you don't have to be
you don't have to
as
be a
powerful.
PS5.
You just have to be visually presentable.
Yeah.
And I think because of the spur of handheld gaming that got kicked off by the deck, there's enough small, cheap compute where you can get something that looks better than what this VCS is doing or what the Switch 1 was doing. You can get within an airshot of what people, the masses, would consider graphically acceptable and keep the price down.
But they would have to, in my opinion, they would have to um do their title. It has to come from their title.
They can't
Whatever
just put it out there
resurgence that
and
they're going to have, it has to come through their title.
because
It's not going to work unless you take something that somebody remembers and then really bring it to the forefront that competes with Nintendo and with PlayStation or with Sony. I'm not going to mention Xbox because, like I said, there's no horse in that race.
they've
Sorry,
they've kind of already
there's no horse there.
they've already kind of given up. PS Portal with a mad. I think Portal kind of, except it kind of relies on streaming, right? Which again they could do something with streaming an option. You stream their games if you want to pay a subscription price. I don't think you make that mandatory. Um, yeah, it's like they toyed with the idea with the VCS
Yeah.
and then just didn't push it in any particular direction.
Hmm.
That's kind of what I got off the VCS, but it
Yeah.
kind of inspired this topic
Yeah.
because the 7800 plus, which is more of a curated experience, seems to be the one that's selling.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that's a hit.
The 7800. Yeah.
Yeah. So if they curate the experience, they lean on their brand with the launch of the hardware. I think that's where.
So do me a favor. I gotta see this. Like, let me out because you would pretty much be kind of like my barometer here, right? Go to the PlayStation Store,
You want me to go
right?
to the PlayStation Store?
Yeah.
Okay.
Type in Neosprint. Let's say one word, Neosprint. Live test, by the way, folks.
Uh, Neo Sprint, no results found.
Oh, sorry. No way. What? Okay, I'm
N
gonna
E
send you.
O S P R I N T, right?
Yeah, sure.
Zero results under hardware and services, games, features, and support.
What? Okay. All right. Wait. What? No. Okay. Look. Look.
You
Look.
want me
Look.
to show the audience?
No.
And now it wants me to sign in with my PlayStation account.
No. Absolutely not. Uh. Let's see. I'm gonna look for it.
Mm-hmm. Was it on a different platform or is it?
No. Oh, I put one. SPR. There it is. 1 second. Oh, it's copied. I like the way that um Steam does their address bar now. Because like you can just tap on it and it's copied. So I said to you in Discord.
This man wants me pushing all the buttons.
Yeah.
Oh, let me not kill the stream.
Yeah. Don't kill the stream.
Yeah, CA's even doing it. He's like, I got no results. What are we talking about? All right, let me use my cellular device and let me not kill
What?
our
Stop
feed
it.
here.
Stop it.
The people aren't finding what version of the internet are you
Are
on?
you kidding me?
Okay, Neo Sprint. See, it's on Steam. You sent me a Steam link. You said PlayStation Store.
Oh, I said no. I said Steam. Didn't I say Steam? But it is on PlayStation. By the way. But anyway, I said Steam.
It's either I heard wrong or Dade said PlayStation instead of Steam. I
It
will
is
let.
on.
Yeah, see, I'm not alone in this. You had a bunch of people checking the PlayStation Store, my guy.
Okay.
All right, so I'm looking at this.
Yeah. If you press Atari, if you just tap on the Atari title, you're gonna see all the titles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you could go by best selling, but you're going to see a lot of like Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Breakout
Who, like what, like is
Atari
Roller Coaster
50th Anniversary Collection.
right? But is the tar is place is Roller Coaster Tycoon your like? Is that the title that you would hang your hat on? Right. So why would you do it? You know what I mean? Like
Atari Mania. Oh, so you're trying to
yeah.
say what here would? Oh, okay.
What there is going to
Um. Mm,
that's the PlayStation link.
oh, he found the PlayStation link.
Oh yeah, no, it's on the store. It's on their store page.
You just can't search it easily. I tell you that much right now.
No, that's a I don't know what that is, but
Yeah, dog.
like what on that list?
Asteroids recharged?
Okay, you're gonna put asteroids up against like God of War, bro. You get cooked right off.
uh,
Cooked.
um, oh,
Like there's no way.
uh, um, checkered
No way. No shot. You're not. There's
checkered
nobody,
flag.
bro. God of War. What are you putting up against God of War?
Okay. Oh, hold on. Wait, hold on. No.
I would love, yeah, the chat, like
Pong
for
Quest.
you to look at this game. Click on Atari in terms of the publisher. From the publisher, you tell me, like, if you go down to the list, if you go to scroll down to the bottom, you're gonna see top sellers and their new releases.
Okay. All right.
Top
Wait.
sellers.
Here we go.
What are you selling?
Here we go. Wait. All right. Boomer shooters are coming back. The nostalgia kick, right? You ready for
Boomer
this?
shooters. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't create the phrase. It is what it is. It means shooters that have a 90s aesthetic. Bear with me, all right?
I would
Blood.
start with I would start with Bubsy.
Okay. Bubsy's not a bad option. I like it.
I would start with Bubsy and then recreate a new version of Bubsy.
The Blood Shooter series. They have Blood Fresh Supply on their list.
But I remember that title.
Yeah.
Hmm.
See? And all you got to do is it's already there in, the old school ish style, almost semi 2D looking over 3D. You polygon up everything. It looks 3D. You
Okay.
push a button, it goes back to the old school look.
So we got Blood,
Mm-hmm.
Bubsy.
You got the kids with the
What
Bubsy.
else?
Oh, he said what else? This man.
I said 4.
All right.
So,
So
and don't give me Centipede Recharge. I'll just, I'll
put
just leave
drop
the chat
drop
right
blood
now.
in the list for the chat if you can. Let me see. I'm on my phone doing this. Okay, so blood, Bubsy.
The chat can help out too.
Come on, y'all, help me. All right, so we have a shooter, we have a platformer.
Shooter platformer.
All right, let's keep. Oh, this is Infogrames. What's this one? Okay, the Independence War Starship Simulator game. So now you have your space flight sim. That could be your graphical showcase because doing space games looking pretty relatively easy. That's
Okay.
yeah.
Stop it. Stop it.
So Moon Patrol not it? Okay. We got 3. We got 3. Bomberman,
Okay,
no,
okay.
someone owns
Okay.
Bomberman. You can't do Star Fox, and Nintendo will be so far up your.
Okay, I would say, okay, you know what?
I got 3.
I'm gonna give
Got 3.
Moon Patrol a try. Because Moon Patrol, I could see something there.
And see, I don't want to do another flight game because they have a lot of those, but kind of I picked space flight and flight kind of,
Yeah.
A lot of space flight games in their list.
And it could be an IP. Remember, it could be from any one of the IPs. So, like, you say, look, bring a modern, really good version of Tetris.
Oh, then forget that. Let's stay on one that will appeal to your gen, the arcade folks, and some modern folks. Why not? And this is going to require work on their end, right? They have to go and get the music for this.
Yeah.
A brand new Tempest with new licensed music and new graphics display. And if you want old school, again, lean on the nostalgia. You push the select button, whatever on the controller, looks old. But now you have brand new music.
Yeah.
Done. And
Yeah.
that prints more money because you sell songs. It becomes like the Dance Dance Revolution stuff. You just keep selling songs in that game's store.
Okay.
So
That
yeah,
works.
the business mindset kicked in here. You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit
It
of
just took a little time. Took a little time.
yeah.
It was bacon, and then
Clicked. He had to propose a little bit of a challenge.
there you
Got
go.
to it. But yeah, that with one of the modern Ryzen APUs,
Yeah.
some relatively cheap storage. Um, don't take it the full nerdy route like they did with the VCS re-release. Keep the nostalgia, put
Okay.
their brand on it, make it a dockable
Okay.
experience so you can take it with you,
Okay.
and try to keep the price under $500, ideally under $400.
Oh, see, you went under $500. I was like $499.99.
This guy, no, you don't want to
It has
make
to
it.
be lower than that.
I think it has as lower as you can as low as you can feasibly make it.
Okay.
Because I think that's some of the appeal of the 7000 plus too. The 700 plus is an impulse buy for your generation. The
Yeah.
VCS was an impulse buy. I just think it was too complicated in their execution. That's why we didn't hear about it as much as we did the 2600 plus and the 7800 plus.
Of course not. No.
Even though that was a unit that was HD capable, and yeah, it just the Atari really is the plug and play generation more so than any other console, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I think if they lean on all of that, kind of take from what we've just mentioned, the collective pooling here of she said Dig Dug. I just read that.
They made a remix, by the way.
I'm not surprised. I think they could be a odd enough, even with all this, I think they come up as kind of an also ran. I'm not sure if they become a third spot in their first going, but I think they become a profitable also ran.
Mm. I think it'll work.
You hear that, Atari? We just gave you the blueprint. No, free of charge, by the way.
I'd buy it.
Yeah, because I mean, you already got people looking at the Plus series and they're like, all right, what's next?
Right. Really, just kind of pare down a little bit. I know you guys got a lot of titles.
Yeah.
And probably a few studios too.
And do like the 7000 Plus. If you do put a cart slot on the dock, make it backwards compatible with the one that came before it.
Yep.
Because not everyone, even of Dade's generation, is as nerdy and will have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different things hooked up to their TV. It'll be the one thing, whatever the newest one is, and it'd be nice if the newest one could play all the things from the oldest one. Look at Dade.
I got a couple. I mean, the PlayStation Pro, the PlayStation 5 Pro, 4 Pro, PlayStation 3, the Xbox 360 in the Switch.
Currently connected.
Currently, well, okay. Here's the deal. I have all the cables,
Mm-hmm.
and I have the HDMI. I only have 4 connected at a time, and the HDMI for the ones that are not connected are just unplugged from the end, from the TV end.
Yeah.
All I have to do is swap out one or the other.
No. You know your generation better than me. How many people of your generation are going to do that?
A few, I would say. Again,
Is it the mass appeal of your generation that's going to do that?
no, not the mass appeal of
my okay.
generation. So the if I were looking at people like me, I would say that would be a good majority.
Yeah,
because
nerds
folks will have, well, they'll have like man caves at that point. So
nerds.
Yeah.
See, it's like I'd do it.
That's right.
Yeah, I do it, but I also know I'm probably in the top 1 percentile. Dade, did your camera just cut out? Did I just lose Dade? I think we just lost Dade. Gotta love those live recordings. We could give him a second to come back. He looks so what just now? And the kid, he got knocked off here. For those watching this on YouTube later, or Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, yeah, the co-host just got. I'm not sure if he was running his end of this stream on an Atari, but I'm getting a message. He just had a power outage, so let me tell him I'll just wrap up and read out. So Dade thinks it's possible. He thinks though they could sell it for more. I think they need to lean cheaper, right? A screened version of the yeah, it's just me now. A screened version of the Atari, a screened version of the Atari platform, right? Essentially a Steam deckified Atari platform. Somehow paying homage to the Atari Lynx, but having the library of all the others and their store and a cartridge slots in a dock and maybe even some game ports. He at some point suggested maybe a Jaguar 64 Plus. I think that's a non-starter. I don't think the Jaguar did well enough for that, but that's just me. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But yes, something stronger and faster than the VCS, but with the nostalgic kick of the 7800 Plus and the gaming titles we all mentioned here. I think we're in good standing. But as always, folks, that was Dadeisvenm. I'm Reaper PC. I'm going to raid out of here to another person. For those watching on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, or just listening to the audio version, you can catch us on all the other platforms, or every other week, catch us on twitch.tv/ReaperPC. YouTube is Reaper. YouTube for me is Reaper PC -live. Dadeisvenm is Dadeisvenm. Notice there's no O on every platform. CA agrees, just needs to be on roids to compete. Yeah, it just needs more power than the VCS. It really does. But folks, we are going to get out of here. This has been 2020 Gamer Crew. This is What If Gaming 004. Leave comments on any of the platforms, or see us on 2020 Gamer Discord. The link will be in the description. If you have any other what if scenarios you'd like us or any of our guests to cover, we will try to get more guests who are of certain aspects of the culture for the different topics we cover. But we'll catch you folks on the next one. Thank you for everyone who showed up, commented, supported, resubbed, bits, whatever have you. Don't forget to like and subscribe on whatever platform you happen to see this lovely event on. I'm going to hit y'all with the credits, rate us out. Till next time, don't break anything.